Are you my dad? The words froze Sergeant Liam Hawthorne where he stood. He had just stepped down from his truck, boots crunching over the dry grass, his eyes taking in the $1 ranch he'd claimed after returning from deployment. He'd imagined this moment for weeks: freedom, peace, a chance to rebuild something with his own hands. But the place was worse than he expected. The roof sagged in the middle, boards were warped and splintering, windows cracked and clouded. The air smelled faintly of rust, hay, and rain-soaked earth. He thought it was abandoned. Then he saw her. Before we move further into this story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear. Let's dive in. On the porch steps sat a little girl, barefoot, her thin arms wrapped around a battered teddy bear. Her cheeks were streaked with dirt and dried tears, and her tangled hair clung to her face. Her eyes, wide, unblinking, were locked on him. She had just asked a question that didn't make sense. "What did you say?" he asked, his voice more cautious than he intended. "Are you my dad?" she repeated, slower this time, as if he might not have heard her. Liam's mind scrambled. He didn't have kids. At least, not that he knew of. He crouched down to meet her gaze. "What's your name? Where's your mum?" The girl's grip on the teddy tightened. She said her name was Emily, and her mama had gotten sick. So sick she couldn't get out of bed. Before she passed, she told Emily to hide whenever strangers came and to wait because someone would find her. A gust of wind rattled the barn door in the distance. Somewhere in the field, a cow let out a low, mournful call. Liam swallowed hard. This wasn't a trespasser. This was a child who had been living here, alone, for who knew how long. "Emily," he said gently, "when was the last time you ate?" She shrugged. "Found crackers in a cupboard yesterday." Her voice was flat, almost rehearsed, like she'd told herself not to expect much. He held out his hand. She stared at it for a long moment before finally placing her small, dirt-smudged fingers in his. He led her inside. The interior of the house was even worse than the outside. Dust lay thick over everything, cobwebs draped like tattered curtains in the corners. A broken table leaned against the wall, and a few scattered dishes sat crusted in the sink. On the counter, half buried under unopened letters, was a cracked photo frame. Liam picked it up. In the picture, a young woman smiled warmly, holding a baby wrapped in a pink blanket. His breath caught. He knew that face. She was the younger sister of a man he'd served with years ago. He'd only met her once, during a stateside barbecue when she was pregnant. He remembered her laugh, the way she'd balanced a plate on her belly and joked about naming the baby after her brother. Emily's voice pulled him back. "That's Mama. And me." The realization hit him like a punch to the ribs. Had her mother told her he was her father? Or had she simply planted the idea in her daughter's mind before she died to give her hope that someone was coming? Either way, this little girl believed it, and whether or not it was true, Liam knew he couldn't walk away. He told her she wouldn't be staying here alone anymore. She hesitated, studying his face like a soldier deciding whether to follow a commander into battle. Finally, she nodded. Over the next days, Liam worked on the ranch during the day and cooked simple meals at night. Emily followed him everywhere at first, as if afraid he might disappear. Gradually, she began to relax. She'd run barefoot in the grass, laugh when the wind caught her hair, and feed the stray barn cat that showed up one morning. At night, they sat on the porch steps, watching the stars in silence until she'd lean her head against his arm. The ranch began to change too. Liam patched the roof, mended the fence line, and cleared the overgrown fields. With each repair, the place felt less like a ruin and more like a home. One afternoon, while clearing the attic, he found a sealed envelope with his name on it. The handwriting was instantly familiar. It was hers. He opened it with careful hands. "Liam," the letter began, "if you're reading this, it means I didn't make it. I told Emily about you. Not everything, but enough. I told her you were brave, kind, and would never turn away someone in need. I didn't know if you'd ever see this ranch. But if you do, please don't let her grow up alone." The words blurred as Liam's eyes stung. He read it again, slower this time, as if the ink itself might fade if he didn't memorize every word. He thought about the woman in the photo, about the brother he'd served beside, about the little girl downstairs who now had someone to call Dad. He went down to the porch where Emily was sitting, her teddy bear in her lap. She looked up at him, uncertain. Without a word, he lifted her into his arms. "You're home now," he told her, "and I'm not going anywhere." She wrapped her arms around his neck and held on so tightly he could barely breathe. In that moment, Liam realized something. Family wasn't always about blood. Sometimes it was about who showed up when it mattered most and stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. The wind rustled through the fields, and for the first time, the ranch didn't feel empty. It felt alive. Family isn't always about who you're born to. It's about who stands by you when the rest of the world walks away. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know how you feel in the comments.